Dividends. They're one of the only sources of truly passive income in this world. You don't have to go out and spend tons of time to fill out a mortgage application for a rental property. You don't have to fix broken toilets. You don't have to fix the air conditioning for your tenants when it breaks. You don't need to build and maintain a website for an online business. You just need some money to buy some stock that pays some dividends. And every so often, you'll receive cash from that stock in the form of dividends. It'll just literally show up in your investment account. But how do you actually go from making a few $100s per year to tens of thousands of dollars per year in dividend income? Is it hard? Can anyone do it? And what are the risks of dividend investing? Because we know 2022 wasn't exactly riskless. Of course, there is some work you need to do, right? You don't want to blindfold yourself and buy a random dividend stock just because it pays a dividend. Some dividend stocks don't pay that high of a dividend rate. So for example, let's say you want to retire one day, reach financial independence, you need $50,000 per year and you want to live on dividend income. You bought Microsoft. Guess how much money it would take with Microsoft stock to make $50,000 a year? $6.25 million, because Microsoft only pays a 0.8% dividend yield. But if instead of Microsoft you went with Altria Group, well, Altria Group pays 8% as its dividend yield, so $625,000 would be how much money you would need instead of $6.25 million, right? So we have to decide how we want to do this. Answering this question may be the difference between you reaching financial independence at age 40 or retiring on time at age 65, whatever it is that your financial goal is. I, for one, want to reach financial independence as quickly as I possibly can. Some people don't care. Some people are okay working until age 68 years old. They don't mind. But for me, I want to hit that number as quickly as I can while still, of course, living a happy life. It's a balancing act between how much you can save, the lifestyle that makes you happy, the products and services that you buy each month. Find the balance, find the number, and hey, you got the secret sauce. So what's the number for you? Is it gonna be $1 million? Is it gonna be $6.25 million? Is it gonna be $625,000? What's the number? Well, to figure that out, we gotta talk about baking. So there is a popular saying, I'm sure you've heard of it before, there's more than one way to bake a cake. Meaning, there's more than one method or one strategy to obtain a specific outcome. Just like there's more than one way to bake a cake, there's more than one way to live off your investment income. Yes, dividends are a way to do that. It's like baking a cake, but there's another way to bake a cake. There's something called the 4% rule. Now, this rule was derived from the Trinity study, and the Trinity study basically says that if you take out 4% from your investment portfolio every single year, and you have a retirement that lasts 30 years, there's a very good chance you're not gonna run out of money. And so for some people, baking their cake is only living on 4% per year. For others, it's only living on dividend income. And for others, it's just a blend of the two. It's possible maybe those types of stocks, they might cut their dividends one day. They may not have a lot of growth left in them. And for example, if you have a company that pays a 10% dividend, but it declines in price over the next 2 years by 50%, that's a terrible investment, right? So you gotta make sure you buy a company for the right dividend, not just because it's got a really high dividend. And I do need to clean my oven, by the way, oh my God. If you're a farmer, seeds are pretty important, right? So for example, let's say you planted only half your seeds and the other half of your seeds you ate for some reason. Well, you're only getting half the crop. And this kind of same concept happens with dividend investing. So for example, let's say you took $50,000, you invested into the Vanguard 500 index or VFIAX. If you reinvested your dividends from 2013 to 2023 mid-year, your $50,000 would be worth around $178,000. Remember, this is if you planted all of your seeds because you're reinvesting the dividends back into your investment account. Now, what if you didn't reinvest all those dividends, but you actually distributed them and used them to fund your lifestyle, your coffee addiction, pay for your mortgage, pay for your rent, whatever it is, well, then you're gonna have a lot less money. That same $50,000 invested over the same amount of time actually doesn't grow to $178,000 anymore. Now it only grows to $147,000. So you lost around $30,000 by using those dividends to fund your lifestyle. And if you're going to try to use this to build a retirement plan, you wanna keep investing those dividends. Of course, when you are retired, take the dividends out to live on. And speaking of retirement or financial independence, this is something I kind of struggle myself with. If I get to my number, will I actually quit everything and just retire? Will I stop working? I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can just stop working. I don't think I'm gonna be happy just sitting around, not really doing much, not having a way to earn a paycheck, basically. So for me, it's more just of a mindset. I just want to be able to go to sleep at night and know that at the end of the day, I can just push the stop button on working if I need to, and I can push that start button on living on my investments. That's all I really want. So now to answer the question, how much do you actually need to live off of dividends? Well, let's start with the dividend yield. A healthy dividend yield might be 2.5% to 4%. If you can create a portfolio of stocks that continue to increase their dividends, this will keep up with inflation, and it's totally possible to continue to basically live your life just living on dividend. Now, not everyone wants to do the work to build a stock portfolio, right? It's a lot of work. So some people, they just go out and they buy an ETF, buy an index fund, and that's the way to do it. You may like the Vanguard VYM ETF. It's got around a 3% dividend yield. Maybe you'll like Charles Schwab's SCHD ETF. It's got about 3.5% dividend yield. Those are decent dividend yielding stocks or ETFs, and they actually have good growth historically. So here's the chart I made that will show you how much money you would need to have invested to live off certain dividend yields. If you want to live on $50,000 a year and you only want a 3.5% dividend, well, you need $1.428 million. You want to lower that to 4%, $1.25 million. Now, if you want $100,000 annually in dividend income, 3.5% dividend yield, it's about 2.9 million you're going to need. Now, maybe you're used to spending more money in your household, so if you want $200,000 a year at 3.5%, you're gonna need about $5.7 million. So now you know how much you might need to have invested to live off dividend income, but here's the question: how do you actually get started? Well, if you want to learn, I have a video right here that shows you how to get started, and it only takes 10 minutes.